everybody, this is Jonathan Kios, job coach and agency linkage specialist from Yosemite Monarch Charter School. And you're listening to Your Transition Podcast. By now, if you have been listening with us, you know what we're all about. However, if you're new to the show, we cover all those transition and what next after high school topics. Blake, start us off with something different today.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. What's up, everybody? Thank you again for joining us, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Facebook, which we're now on all of those at this time of this video. I have to warn everyone, though, I get a little more lighthearted during the holidays. We're getting into this holiday seasons. It's November, right? And so some of us are getting out those ugly sweaters, getting those ready about eggnog, which is a huge personal favorite of mine. So how could you not be lighthearted, right? And I can promise everybody that I will be rocking my ugly sweater for next month's podcast. So you can count on that for sure. All that said, though, today we're going to start off with something a little new. We're going to call your top funny career meme. What we will do is we will have you, our esteemed listeners, vote on your favorite meme by liking the video, leaving a comment, and in that comment you'll put either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 corresponding with the meme. And by doing this, it'll enter you in a raffle for a Starbucks gift card, which is pretty sweet, right? So yeah, your eggnog could be on us if we select your name in this raffle. So without further ado, here are our memes. And if you're listening on Facebook or Spotify, be sure to go ahead, pop over to the YouTube channel and check it out. We'll have them posted up there so you can see them. All right, so our meme number 1, we've got a little office setting here, right? And it says the starting pay is $40,000, and then later it could go up to $80,000. You know, looks like we're in an interview. And the other guy says, "Okay, I'll start later then." I would too. That's a pretty good deal, right? Next up, we got Picard, Captain Picard. The classic hand on the face meme. We've got my job has this cool thing where if you do your job very well, you get to do other people's jobs too. Right? You know, too true. Number 3, we've got Ron Burgundy, and it says, when that great candidate informs you that they have already accepted another offer. And it's him in that phone box. I'm in a glass case of emotion. Number 4, we have Barney, Neil Patrick Harris's character from How I Met Your Mother, says, "What is your worst flaw?" And he says, "I'm too awesome." Too awesome. It's a great interview answer right there. And then finally, we have number 5. We have Psy from Gangnam Style. Just glorious, says just leaving work, just embodying that leaving work feeling. So, Jonathan, what's your favorite out of those 5?
Oh man, that's hard. Those are some great memes. I think my favorite is number 1. I'll start later. What about yours, Blake? What's your favorite?
Oh, I do love number 1. I mean, how could you not, right? But you know, for the sake of variety, I gotta go number 5. You know, no matter how much you love your job, I mean, I love my job. It's great. But at the end of the day, nothing beats that getting off of work feeling, especially on the weekend. You know, it's on Friday. We're at the end of the day, going into the weekend. Just we're done.
Agree. I used to tell my students that you think you love summer break. I really love summer break. So that's definitely a great one too. Okay, everybody, be sure to vote. Blake, I'm so excited about our show today, man. I'm pumped to work alongside Braden, who's a student from one of our Central Valley charter schools. We'll both be interviewing Deputy Station Commander Sergeant Valdez, who is located over in the Fresno recruitment office.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're interested, our listeners out there, if you're interested in the military, go ahead, hit that pause button, go run to the kitchen, grab a snack, get a buttery bag of popcorn, kick off your shoes, relax, because you're going to be in for a treat.
You're making me hungry, Blake. Hey, where's the pause button for us? I'm just kidding. One side note I would like to mention is that even if you're not interested in the military, we want to really encourage all of our students and staff members to learn about those possibilities and options before opting out, if that makes sense. I was sharing with a student recently that you want to look at all of your options on the buffet table before you go and you decide to stick with the carrot cake, if you will. So know your options. Okay, before we get into that, Blake has our tips of the month.
Yeah. Just going off that real quick, it's always good to be open-minded and keep yourself informed of any opportunities that might be in front of you. So, all right. So our tips of the month are actually kind of in the spirit of the military today, as we're centered around time management, which is, as always, I'm going to throw that up on the screen for you so you guys can follow along. So here we go. So we got 7 awesome tips for you today. Tip number 1, set goals correctly. So setting goals are important to make them achievable and measurable. One kind of helpful little acronym is SMART, and using the SMART method when setting goals. So what SMART stands for is these goals are specific, they're measurable, these goals are attainable, relevant, and timely. Tip number 2 is prioritize wisely. So what that means is you're going to want to prioritize your tasks based on 2 different factors, importance and urgency. So first, you're going to want to put those tasks that are both important and urgent first. And you're going to want to do these right away. Then you got your important but not urgent tasks. You're going to decide when to do these tasks. So you don't need to do these right now, but they are important. So you're going to have to decide when you want to do these. Next, you kind of have that next tier of urgent but not important. So if it's possible, delegate these tasks, which means, you can kind of, if you're working in a group setting, maybe you're in charge, maybe you can have some other people do it. If not, you want to kind of get these done sooner, but not before the previous 2 tiers. And then not urgent and not important. These, as you can kind of imagine, you can set aside for later. Tip number 3 is set a time limit to complete a task. So this is a pretty important one. Setting time constraints for completing tasks helps you be more focused and efficient. Making that small extra effort to decide on how much time you need to allot for each of these tasks can help you kind of really recognize potential problems before they arise. That way you can make plans for dealing with them. So maybe you have one of these important and urgent tasks that you're trying to do right away, and you're going to allot yourself 2 hours. You can kind of account, maybe it's only going to take you an hour and a half, but you can kind of allot that little extra in case there's anything that comes up. And also it keeps you within kind of a deadline as well. So you kind of need to get this done. Number 4, and it's kind of a very easy one, but a very important one, is take a break between tasks. You don't want to overload yourself. That's a really quick way you can burn yourself out. So you really want to kind of be mindful of taking a break, whether it's 5, 10, 15-minute breaks between tasks, to kind of collect yourself, Maybe even just like get yourself in the mindset of a transition of I'm done with this, setting it down, shutting off that task and then starting back up for a new one. Kind of get those separation between them. Number 5, we're going to have organize yourself. So you're going to utilize your calendar for more long-term time management. So what this might look like is writing down deadlines for projects or for tasks that are part of completing the overall project. So think about which days might be the best to dedicate to specific tasks. So if you have a big project, maybe you want to put up a lot of the groundwork beforehand, the foundation, and then maybe you set out certain days to work on different aspects of that project. That way you're kind of pacing yourself. You're not cramming it all in the middle or all in the beginning or all at the very end. We definitely don't want to procrastinate, right? But kind of spacing everything out. It's a lot easier, kind of eating the elephant one bite at a time kind of approach. Number 6, remove non-essential tasks or activities, right? So you're not putting in a task that says, play video games. You're not putting that into a school project or a work project or something like that. So you can remove those and take those out. And then 7, finally, plan ahead. So make sure you start every day with a clear idea of what you need to do and what needs to get done that day. A really good kind of way to go about that might be making a to-do list just the day before. Sometimes that could be the simplest way. You don't have to think about it. When you're going to bed, your mind's not racing. You can write it down, turn off, and then when you wake up in the morning, you got it there, you're ready to go, and you know what you're doing that day.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I love your point about SMART goals. I was sharing with the student this week that there was a goal that I set for myself, and we were analyzing the goal on why for 2 years in a row I failed it. And it came down to my goal wasn't really a SMART goal. So thank you for sharing that. So much to think about, Blake. I heard a study that says within the first 2 to 5 minutes, an employer has already decided whether or not they're going to hire you. Within 2 to 5 minutes of that initial encounter. That is incredible to me, that before, asking a bunch of interview questions in that first meeting, 2 to 5 minutes, they've already made a decision. And guess what? Time management is a big part of that. Part of the study says that it went into that showing up late all but guarantees you won't get the job. All but guarantees, like, hey, I'm running behind. This is my excuse. Oh, doesn't matter. You're not getting the job. So time management is so key. Thanks for sharing, Blake.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, and that's right, Jonathan. And I kind of an idea I always live by is like on time is 10 minutes late, something like down those lines. I know there's a lot of different iterations of that, but it's like you always want to show up early. 10 minutes early that should be on time. That should be kind of your golden standard there. But yeah, so and so last month, we talked about branding, personal branding, right? And time management is an essential part of one's branding. And finally, I just kind of want to point out too, just as a little reminder, it is important to make time for yourself via self-care. So when you are planning out those things, those breaks are huge. For example, that's a perfect time to throw in a little bit of self-care. Take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. We won't get too much into that because we do have a video on that. We have some amazing tips in last month's special edition called Wellness Wednesday. We had a couple of our amazing transition teachers come in and talk about that and share some tips and tricks. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check that out.
tips, Blake. Okay, without further ado, I would like to introduce Braden, one of our awesome Yosemite Monarch students, and Sergeant Valdez with the Army in the Fresno Recruitment Office. So I would like to introduce you all. And also, I would just like to, side note, tell Sergeant Valdez, thank you for your service and for doing this. Okay, Braden.
Thank you, Jonathan. I would like to thank Sergeant Valdez for his service. First and foremost, also a big thank you for answering our questions about the military, taking the time. Oh, big Sergeant Valdez, can you share how you have? Can you share how heard about the military and which bridge you currently serve in?
Oddly enough, I heard about the military, with my boss. I previously had a job in Buyer's Edge. It was a job I had out here in California, and I found out little by little, that he was actually enlisted in Army Reserve, and I'd say he was more or less the influential part in the military in a sense. That's how I found out. After 9/11, that's another one. That's the main factor as to why I enlisted in the Army, and I enlisted full on active duty, regular Army.
Hey, thank you so much. I know Braden has more questions. Braden, go for it.
For students listening, can you share why they should join?
The Army offers skill training, offers challenge, travel opportunities, leadership training, and many more aside from just paying for college.
What are the requirements for joining?
Basic requirements are ages 17 through 34, with no felonies, no open criminal cases. Medical issues are basically, we generally look at those medical issues prior. So with people having certain medical issues, it's more or less, we look at that stuff. Obviously, no tattoos on the hands or face or neck. But yeah, those are the basic requirements for enlisting in the U.S. Army.
What is the minimum length of one service commitment?
What we've seen now is that the average enlistment is at least 3 years, and that does not include the basic training and the advanced individual training. So 3 years. 3 years is the minimum requirement for active duty and Army Reserve.
How long is boot camp and basic training?
Boot camp and basic training. Okay, so we generalize those two terms. They're the same thing. Basic training is 10 weeks long, 2 months and 2 weeks. That also includes that reception piece for the first week of basic training.
Would I be stationed after the boot camp? Do I have a choice?
So for active duty, you're generally at the Army's needs upon completion. With the Army Reserve, you more or less have a chance of looking at your opportunities as to where you want to be stationed at. So all in all, in the Army Reserves, it depends on what job you select.
What do you do like about the military?
in a sense, I felt in love after the 4 years of enlistment. And partially the reason is because we all treat each other like family. I have a connection between each individual that's unlike others. In fact, I have a more of a connection between myself and the soldiers I work together with, aside from my family. So,
What was a challenge or something you didn't expect prior to joining?
when I walk into the recruiting office, I think something that was unexpected was my weight. I thought I had it. I thought I was going to meet the criteria to enlist, but I was a little overweight. So I had to lose over 20 pounds to qualify.
Will I ever be deployed? If so, will too.
So there's no guarantee that you will or will not deploy, but the job and the specialty training, such as becoming airborne, paratroopers, air assault, those can actually be factors for deployments.
For those who did not know, what is the ASVAB? What is the minimum ASVAB score I need?
So for the ASVAB, the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, it's more or less similar to the SAT or the ACT. Some of those sections are fairly similar, with the exception of not being able to use calculator. The minimum score you would have to get is a 31 to be able to qualify. However, during times of the season, there are exceptions, but it's more or less kind of like a lottery in a sense.
What will I be paid? Are there any bonuses or incentives or specific jobs?
Okay, so for the pay grade scale, we all, as enlisted personnel, we start as an E1. We have a scale of E1 through E9, and it goes same across all branches. We all get paid the same. For E1 pay, it would be around about $1,800 a month, and usually, a soldier, that enlists with Fresno Army Recruiting Office usually ends up getting a referral bonus. So most likely shipping out as an E2, which actually increases their pay just about maybe $200 extra a month. So so they say close to $2,000 a month. However, it's a big of a difference because there's no pay for housing, no pay for food, no pay for clothing, all those little extra things that have to get paid here at home. Most of the stuff it's close to non-existent in the military, so it's actually most of the money you actually get to pocket. But bonuses, there are some jobs such as a cryptological linguist that can pay up to $40,000 bonus. Other jobs vary, some which are seasonal bonuses, which only apply for those that, personnel that score a 50 or higher on the ASVAB. And also a high school diploma or at least on track to graduate as a high school senior are a must to be able to qualify for those bonuses. Yeah.
What are some barriers to joining the military? Who cannot join?
Okay, that's a little bit of a touchy subject, but I'll kind of give a little rundown. Basically, if a person would have a felony or a misdemeanor, we would have to go through waivers. So it's at the burden of the applicant on what their situation is. Obviously, your tattoos. If an individual would have tattoos that are potentially against our policy, dependency. Also, having children. If one were to have more than 3 children, that would potentially disqualify them, and we would have to get waivers. So usually the Army is pretty open about certain things, open to consideration. And so for most applicants, they end up enlisting with waivers. I have yet to see an applicant that has a clean record enlist in the military, especially from California. So, but is that a good answer?
Mm-hmm. I think it's great. I like it. Thank you, Braden. I think those were awesome questions. So thank you, Braden, for asking those questions on behalf of students out there. Obviously, we won't be able to cover everything and all the information today, but Sergeant Valdez, I just kind of want to throw this out there. So I was in a, we call them high school hangout class, and I got talking to a student who is a senior, and he's like dead set on the military. What would you tell that student, what is their next step? How do they, get in touch with you? What is that next step for them? There's a lot that our students are trying to navigate. And so we just want to point them the way if military, the Army's where they want to go.
Yes, sir. So, and this goes for everybody. So there are a variety of ways to get in contact with me. I understand that this school is more or less gonna for people that are like doing everything, which are connected, digitally, in a sense, or virtually, right? So we've managed to create like our accounts via Instagram, and anybody can get a hold of me via Instagram at USARGV. USARGV is one of the main methods that I use for contacting individuals via social media. Another method could be just a simple phone call or text at my cell at 559-350-7943, or just come down here in person, and then we'll be able to help you out. I'm pretty sure you guys have the address, but if you don't, it's 6735 North Milburn. It's next to Herndon and Santa Fe. But yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Sergeant Valdez. And again, thank you to Braden. And thank you for everyone who's listening today. And remember, you can reach out to me. I have Sergeant Valdez's contact information. And if you're that student who's thinking about the military, you can reach out to me. Happy to support you. That's what this transition podcast is all about. And so that concludes this episode's transition podcast, and we will catch you all on the next one.